That one. That should be working now. Yeah. Okay. Music is off. Serves me right for assuming things were correct before they were not. Welcome to the pre-game banter. Last week was a doozy. The things that happened. Volume is really low. Could be just you, could be me, could be everyone.
I think it's that you're maybe a bit set back from the mic. I'm hearing Femi and Landis pretty well, man. So it might be mic position.
Might be mic. I might also have a wrong mic on. So let's see that one. Could be the right mic. Let's see. Listen levels. Oh, the levels have gone down like a million points. Okay. How about now? Is it any better?
Perfect, man. It's really good pickup. Really nice and clear.
Yeah. Hey, it wouldn't be a stream if we didn't have some type of technical issue to work out.
yeah, it wouldn't be our stream if there was technical difficulties to work.
It's not an issue if it's resolved. It's not an issue if it's resolved. This is just bug testing live.
Yeah, this is about 75% reason why we have weekend banter, so I can jerry-rig all the situations off before the actual game starts, so the game won't be interrupted by these problems.
It's called an interactive stream. You know, everybody feels involved, even the audience.
Even the audience.
Audience participation. Frog, it's good to see you back, man. How has your week been?
Hello, Froggy.
Hello, Frog.
I know. I mean, I feel like that's.
It's advertising for potential competition. Yes, I know.
Yes.
You've been stalking Worcester. Is that something you should admit to in a public chat?
I know, man.
I feel like me the details rather than just dox them in public, man.
I feel like somebody's write that down.
Keep it track.
Stalker, Frog's we need to look into that.
What can I say? Worcester inspires obsessive fans, you know.
Now we really need to get those donation services going, because otherwise, how are we gonna get any money out of these people?
Yeah, it just becomes a situation that you have. You know how like the story goes, the NSA are watching, and it's like Worcester not Worcester. Frog gets a wee message going, yeah, if you're wanting to stock Worcester, we have all the best cameras and binoculars on wholesale for you.
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, what's the donation level to mail someone an item that you've actually touched, Worcester?
Depends on the item, really.
It's true.
If they want a hair, that's gonna cost $100. Yeah. If they want an eye, that's gonna be $2 million.
You look dashing with an eye patch.
I bet I would.
In fact, just get an eye patch and wear one. Actually, I'm gonna get an eye patch. I'm gonna wear one next stream. That's our commitment to realism and character representation here at 2D4.
Frog's kinda wants panties. The ones with the tentacle strangulation or ones without.
You know how you're trying to blame me for getting us banned off Twitch? It's you do these jokes that's going to get us banned off Twitch.
Look, we're not a partner channel. We can basically do whatever we want, provided we're not live streaming porn or like inciting political violence, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, champion.
So my plans for Vive la Revolution and Centauri Prime is dashed. Then okay.
Yes, pretty much. You'll have to do that via torrents, though. We can always torrent the stream, and that should work.
When we get 100 subscribers, we will actually put out some free content with Worcester reading erotic /fic as a podcast.
So you can hear his
sweet sultry voice walk you through stuff. But we got to get those numbers up, fellas.
Yeah. You get me get 1,000 people saying you want erotic adventures of Wooster Edward. I'll read you freaking gay novels for all it takes.
In fact, here was one I prepared earlier.
I am already prepared. I have my books over here somewhere. That's my phone, Eddie. I got plenty of books though, but I don't want to reach all the way there. You can see those behind me. Lots of things. I can do it.
He's got the finest bills and boons to read you.
Whispers read nothings to me all day. Oh my. Depends on how much you pay.
I think that's more like a premium line setup that you're doing.
Well, maybe I'll start doing that on my own channel, reading the adventures of Fabio. Yes, Fabio. Fabio and Raul.
0904 Big Woo, call now.
Ask for what?
I suppose that would work, I suppose. Right. Oh, jeez. So, Brexit isn't happening yet.
It's like watching a car crash that's been going on for 2.5 fucking years. I can't believe it.
Yeah, like one guy is trying to steer to the right, everyone else is trying to steer to the left towards the tree. So...
Yeah, I think this is an experiment to see if a politician can drive an entire country to mass suicide all at once.
I'm just like, you know, people talk about like shifting the window of normalization, like the Overton window. I think what's going to happen is that at this stage, I was originally interested in Brexit, but I actually don't give a fuck. I just want it to be finished.
Yeah. Just
I'm sure
like,
I'm sure you guys living there feel sort of that, but much stronger.
Let me put it this way. I've had to go through 2 of these. I didn't have to I'm not having to deal with Brexit. I had to deal with the bloody Scottish independence referendum before that. That was just as actually, that was kind of worse because you're talking about splitting families down the middle, because there was like, you know, there'll be households, right? The man or the woman would be voting one way and the other partner was voting the other way. And they were having arguments about this. That was unlike, so ironically in Scotland there was a lot coming because nearly most of us voted lockstep one way, you know. Same with London. I think that was the thing that shocked most Scots more, that we actually voted for once in the same direction that London voted in.
Mm. Yeah. I can't imagine how it is to be a Scotsman in middle of Brexit.
I don't know what to make of it. It's just insane because, don't get me wrong, the EU in some ways, there is issues with the EU. This is the thing, it's not Brexit and the independence referendum is not highlighting anything new. We know there's fucked up shit with the European Union and the United Kingdom. There is issues with these systems. But the argument, it just feels like both of them are just going, oh, we're not getting our own way, so I'm going to throw all my toys and storm out like a 2-year-old and have a tantrum until either people start giving me all the toys that I want, or I just won't play with anyone. That's not diplomacy. That's called a 2-year-old having a tantrum.
Yep. But on the positive side, I heard that the prices of guns in Ireland have gone up lately.
Oh shit! Don't say that. Oh fuck. That's the last thing we want.
Yeah. Hard border on North Ireland.
I don't see how
Let's-
the Conservative government can be a good broker under the Honest Friday Agreement while in coalition with the Democratic Union Party. I just think it's absolutely outrageous they didn't call a second referendum.
The DUP should, at the moment, should be bloody shot. They're basically, everything they're doing is put the Good Friday Agreement to risk. And it's not just them that's at risk. It's people south of the border are at risk of this, and people also in the mainland UK are at risk of this if it blows up in our face. And let's be honest, this was a compromise that maintained peace by making sure that no one was bloody happy.
Yeah.
The Unionists didn't get everything that they want. The Republicans didn't get everything they want, but it was all of them going, right, let's stop this shit because it's getting too much now. We're talking about cops. It was getting to the point they were dragging cops out of, because they were part of the Ulster Constabulary, they were dragging the cops out of their houses with the kids watching them and shooting them, right? And of course, and then they would be like saying, oh, but this is because of the actions taken by the Ulster Constabulary. It was just a nasty vicious circle because you couldn't keep track of where it started.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's quite strong evidence of basically British collusion with loyalist death squads. Not that the various IRA factions are blamed this at all, but...
I feel like I walked in something, I don't know.
Well, we're talking about the entire, the supposed British occupation of Ireland is based on if you look at the history going all the way back over the medieval period, the Irish had so many opportunities to kick the English out of Irish territory, but they didn't because they spent more time fighting amongst themselves. And generally, if they were on the losing side, they would generally either side with the English or at least point them in the right direction of the Irish faction that was coming in prominence. They all played the sides. If they just, the funny thing is, it's like Ireland and Scotland are kind of like good examinations of what, like, if the Irish united under one leader, you would see what happened in Scotland, okay? The English would have been driven out, and the English wouldn't have had... Yeah, they might have the military might come into the country, but it would just be economically... It was just damaging to them, and you would push them out, okay? In the end. And then for Scotland, it's like, if Bruce didn't succeed in getting all the Scottish lords that weren't unified with them out of the country, the picture of what Scotland would have been like would have been the Irish model instead. And it's just so yeah, okay, the actions taken by the British government and the English occupations, yeah, they're nasty, but it's also the same sort of actions that's been taken by any occupying force. Now, and the Irish seem to forget, they occupied parts of Wales and Cornwall 100 centuries before and did the same crap themselves.
That's true, but it's dangerous to look towards history for political solutions to modern day issues.
I'm not saying look at history. I'm just pointing out people try to point towards history and try to cherry pick their start point.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm going at. Yeah, you can't cherry pick your start point. I try to view history as the contiguous stream that it is. And the issue is, at various points, there will always be a stronger side, and they will shit and piss down on the weaker people. Something will happen. They will become the weaker ones. And the people that they're doing the crap to return the favor. Okay? It's just unfortunate behavioral pattern of the human race, okay? And the other issue that becomes about this is because people then start focusing, oh, you did this and you did this, or your ancestors did this, that then drives the cycle, so that then repeats itself again and again and again. I mean, it's ironically, it's actually part of the reason when you look at some of the because of the Troubles, it's one of the things that's driven a lot of like reborn Christianity in Ireland. People actually rediscovering, but the concepts of turning the other cheek there.
I was gonna say, I thought there was a drift away from the Catholic Church.
Well,
not the scandals.
Well, not really towards maybe the Catholic Church and the Pope, right? But looking at the teachings of what Christ was teaching about, turn the other cheek, love thy neighbor, treat others, because we're talking about people that have had, lost family on either side, actually openly forgiven the people that visited wrongs on them, and actually trying to just try and get on with their lives without focusing on getting vengeance, and ultimately, if people want peace, if the people need to stop focusing on what's happened in the past. Yes, it's tragic, it's nasty, but if you keep focusing on so and so happened to so and so ancestor, that's an outrage. I need to sort this out. All you're going to do is just keep this cycle going, and I don't want that cycle to go anymore. It's one that's went on for too long.
How do you feel about Welsh separatism then? Taking the piss. I know it is a very small movement within Wales, though.
This is the thing. There's a small movement in every country's got some sort of independence referendum there. I mean...
Yes, even Finland.
What? Finland was to separate from what? The rest of Scandinavia?
No, we want independence from our government.
I saw your Prime Minister had announced his resignation back in late February or something because he couldn't form a coalition and get his policies through, right?
It's a week ago. No, it's not even February. It's this month. So, by the way, it's 22:30 local time. So, about time we start with the official stuff. So, first of all, before we start the proper episode, now that you have all been joining us, there is a correction from last episode, and I have to remind you people, at no point was there a character named Nadolf involved in the incidents. There was only known associate was Godarth. Any such incidents are purely because player characters do not remember names very well when it comes to nouns. So it was just a mistake in conception. Yes. And secondly,
they look alike. That's the issue.
Secondly, the European Union is about to end the summer time zone. Was it next week? Anyway, what happens? It is going to happen exactly during the middle of our podcast. So whenever it happens, it won't affect the start time of the show. It will affect the end time, and who gives a crap about that? Because everybody will be here watching. The issue is, what are we going to do after that? The next show we will accommodate to the European Union daylight savings rules, so we will have the show an hour later.
It shouldn't change.
An hour earlier. Actually.
No, we don't change.
We don't change, but the people around the show will be 1 hour earlier.
It will still always be 8:30 GMT.
Sorry, GMT does not change. It becomes
exactly.
GMT.
I'm saying the call will all be 8:30 GMT.
GMT changes. Let's use UTC.
UTC doesn't change. GMT changes, so it'll always be 8:30 GMT. So whether it transfers or whatever, it's always 8:30.
Well, either way, we're going to be following the daylight savings while they are still in effect. As far as I know, the European Union has decided this thing ends. They have not forced the issue, but they're saying to their member countries that this should end. But it probably will not affect Babylon Project, because I don't see us to be streaming this particular game in 2 years. Well, if we are,
I mean, you know,
I'm game.
I make a lot of reckless decisions, so it's probably not. Probably a different cast.
Yeah, we'll be on to like the 5th crew of the Jacaranda. Zadora is somehow still alive.
It's not quite the Jacaranda of
He's
Thesis
missing
yet.
both eyes.
Yeah.
With twin eye patches to go with. Right, right. So it is episode 11 in the shadow of a dying star. Ominous name, but we'll see what happens. As I recall, last session ended as Femi hung from a single hand on a railing in hyperspace. Airlock open behind him, legs pointing towards the emptiness of hyperspace. His mind filled with the immense power emanating from the depth of space, blocked by this ship's hull while it is intact. But as he is now effectively outside the hull, he can feel how far he can sense himself. Thousands and thousands of kilometers into the nothingness, he can sense small objects flying in steady courses. Meanwhile, in the bridge, Captain Zadora is looking at this display, how a man hangs for his life on a railing, attempting to fight the drag of space that is trying to pull him out. What are your actions, dear Captain?
I'm going to try and jink the ship to shake this man loose. Having made my decision, I have to follow it through for the good of the crew and myself.
Very well. Meanwhile, in the airlock in question, a battle is inside Femi's head.
I feel like regardless, my strength is not that huge. Eventually my fingers will be like, nah, whether she wants to say it or not.
Indeed. So, Talia's voice says, "Tell them to shut it off now, or you will pay. You will all pay."
I would like to try to wrest control from crazy psycho lady.
That will be a psychic check. Just roll up psychic power.
At my normal 9. Well, actually, how is it now that I'm smelling all them hyperdrive fumes?
It is enhanced by the hyperspace as well, so you're in equal footing, so to say. So use your 9.
So use my 9?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Come on. No whammies. No whammies. Like I got real dice in my hand. Ooh, that's a 5.
That is a 5. You are unable to wrestle the control back from it. And however, your strength is sufficient enough to keep it from doing more than holding on to the railing. You can feel the cold slowly decaying your bones. Your endurance is going down by 2 points.
My strength goes down by 2?
Endurance.
Ooh. That's not a far drop. that's a very far drop.
Hyperspace is deadly, especially when you are only wearing the breather unit.
Oh yeah. Oh. Hashtag no regrets. I'm gonna say it all night.
Oh, new follower. Hello, Kahvi. Welcome to the channel. Long time no see.
So if we're talking ahead, I'm like, you made your decisions.
You are making decisions that are of no use to anyone. You're sacrificing yourself for nothing. Even if you die, I will survive.
Maybe, but For now, unless you can try something.
What?
We're gonna be stuck in the vacuum of space together.
Alone. And roll me your psychic power. Roll.
Come on. Dice, don't fail me now. 11! Ah!
Oh my goodness! Yes, you are able to use its sudden burst of rage against it. Talia's mind, for a flicker of a moment, releases its grip from your body, and you are able to decide what to do next.
I let go. Into space.
The fingers unwrap just as the ship tilts, shakes gently, and you find yourself twirling out of the airlock. The coldness of the space enveloping Femi as the distance to the ship grows and grows. The mind inside the mind screams in mixture of fear, loathing, and anger.
I would like to think that as I'm like slowly dying in the death of space, which is by far a horrible, horrible death, that I am just like evil villain laughing, just to anger her as we're just spinning into the vacuum of space. That's good.
And so does the ship lose contact with Femi's presence in space. The sensors are no longer picking up whatever it was that floated away. It is as if he never was. Only his earthly belongings remain on the ship.
Hello, just give me a second. Someone's at my door.
Zador, what do you do?
Captain, I continue recording. I need as much footage of this as possible to explain my actions to both my crew and any potential legal investigation. So I will get on the all systems comms and make an announcement. Crew, this is Captain.
We should probably wait for
that's true.
Great Lord to be back before
I will pause and stare forlornly at the screen behind me, attempting to grapple with what I have just done. So, I would like to check philosophy to try and rationalize my actions. In the heat of the moment, I've done what I thought I needed to, but now the regret and the doubt is setting in. So, I don't have philosophy. I thought I had a minor in philosophy, alas.
No,
I
do believe it was art history.
When you think you have an appropriate skill and then you don't. Okay, then I struggle to rationalize what I have done. You can always, he's a threat to myself, and it's what he wanted, and I have this documentary evidence, but I've known the man for years, and just to see him die like that is sobering, bone chilling, sort of cold sweat.
Are you gonna stop drinking?
Yeah. Observe a moment of silence for us, comrade.
So the question is, me as Ghost of Femi.
The Ghost of Christmas Past.
There's like anybody on the cruise like pick this up, because I'm assuming that even though it was like a video of his, something will make somebody scream was like, why is the airlock open?
That's true. Engineering might be giving me a
like
cold
the sensor says, there's a really small blip. Just leave it.
Yeah. In fact, there is a connection to your station, to the bridge from engineering. Captain, why is the airlock open?
If you could, I'll close that shortly. In 5 minutes, we're going to have a all-crew meeting immediately in the staff on the bridge.
On the bridge?
On the bridge.
If it is your desire, Captain, I will have the slave come as well. And I wonder what's taking Landis so long. Also, welcome, Rival Power. Thank you for joining us. So we are at 23 followers. That's almost halfway to 50 followers, which we need for affiliate. Yay! Or was it 50? Was it 75 or 50?
50 for
affiliate, yeah. So almost halfway there. Almost.
Yeah.
Get your mothers to follow us. So everybody has a mother. Some people have two. Yeah. Now the question is, what will happen next? Because we can't go to the speech until Landis is here.
Exactly. We can't go to the speech until Landis is back.
And he's taking.
It takes like an extra.
time.
Takes an extra 2 minutes so I can get a coffee, like a good.
Probably has something important. Yeah. So
narratively reassuring coffee. That's what I do. My hands shake as I reach under the counter of the control panels, and we keep like instant coffee under there with a water jug and some milk, so that people who are on the bridge can have a little repast without going to the staff break room. And I just pour a little sort of distilled space whiskey into my coffee and drink it with trembling hands, just to take the edge of assisted manslaughter off.
yes.
I think that in legal terms it might not even be manslaughter. I think it might be pure murder.
Self-defense.
Assisted suicide at best.
Maybe.
It's only if anybody finds out.
Well, we're in international hyperspace, so technically we don't actually come under any legal flags.
Now, so the captain has called the crew to order to meet up at the bridge, and the crew begins to come about. First comes Miana Vesa, the ship's primary engineer, and the lovely Lady Centauri. Following her is Dujar, your ship's mechanic, the only non on the vessel. Quickly behind comes Fraser, the drowsy pilot with a chipper attitude. Clearly curious what is going on, and Fir Jado, the census officer, who was, as rare it is, sleeping when the call came, and seems like has barely managed to do his fan of hair properly for this meeting. Because it's like, there's something of matter, Captain.
Wait till everyone has trickled in and stand there. Now, I know some of you detected some aberrations on these ships functions in the last 10 minutes, and you may be noticing that Mr. Dran, Femi, is not with us. I want you to all stand or sit and do nothing until you view this footage. And I put the start of the recording and the sensor logs on 2 different screens and let it run through. Sort of standing there with a very solemn face and a hand near my gun in case anyone reacts poorly.
Yes, Landis, who has arrived along with the rest of the cemetery, does indeed get to witness how Femi, alone in the airlock, he begins to have a conversation with himself. After a long while of arguing, he says, "Open the airlock." And that is exactly what happens. It takes only a few seconds. Many words of fighting ensuing inside. And then finally, a hand holding a rail lets loose. And the sensor log shows how the object on the radar goes further and further and further until it disappears from the radar. And that is when the recording ends. More than a few, no, most of the crew are silent. Dujar is holding a hand over his mouth, his eyes bulging open. Freja has turned to look away and kicks a console. Miana, on her behalf, is nonchalant about it. Happened. And Fear is getting to a console, and I think I can track him. We can still save him.
Fear, stop. As your captain, I'm not always the best captain, but today I had to be. I made a command decision that Femi was either possessed, as he believed, or struggling from serious and ongoing mental health issues, which, combined with his personal powers, represented an unacceptable threat to the ship and to its crew. And this was done at his request. We have to honor his memory in being strong enough to make this decision for us and to reach out for assistance when he needs it. Now, what we need to do is have a post-mortem of these events for ourselves and for anyone else who comes sniffing around. I doubt Psycor will be as understanding as all of you appear to be. I sort of open up the floor for comment.
All eyes turns towards Landis.
Femi, you fool. And I turn and look at the door and I said, "You should have called me."
This is also the point where you notice that Mr. Malone is not present.
Sador, on paper you may be the owner of this ship and in regards to certain things, but this does affect me, and Noah. We should have known.
There was no time. He came to me because he trusted me to do what was necessary, and I did it. I'm not gonna defend my. I'm not going to have my actions here second guessed. It's done. It's gone. Now it's about what we do going forward as a crew and as a ship.
Femi. No, you're not to blame, Sador. Femi's to blame.
It's all your fault.
Oh yes, people, I blame the victim. Oh yes, people, I blame the victim.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, this is my fault.
Yeah,
exactly. There we go.
No. And I said, I mentioned to them and Malone that I don't know to fully explain that there's stories amongst my people about possession and all this sort of stuff. Femi was looking into Malone's mind, and I warned about the dangers if my suspicion was true. Don't get me wrong, that was his business, but even though he might be was an experienced telepath, compared to my race or the Mount Barry, you humans are like children when it comes to telepathy. And
You're so good. It's so lucky I'm dead.
oh yeah, I know. I don't know what my people could have done for him, but it might have been a better option than that. A lot better than that.
Now, the question is, did anyone notice? Was there things that we could have noticed, or we could have seen? Did anyone notice Femi acting differently recently in the past? Has anyone been feeling anything strange, intrusive thoughts, anything along those lines? Femi's sacrifice is pointless if the whatever it is still lingers on amongst us. So think very carefully and open up, because you're among friends here. And basically I want to convince the crew that they can trust me, and they need to openly discuss recent changes in behavior, despite the fact I've just killed one of their
Welcome to the Salem Witch Trials, people. This is how it starts.
Is that a acceptable thing to be doing, Wisdom?
Well, I think you're doing it. You've just said it.
Yeah.
Well, whether it is acceptable or not, you have done it.
I've done it. Persuade or leadership?
But definitely leadership. Because leaders have to make tough choices in their lives. And this is what people are looking towards leaders for.
This is right. I respect you.
As harrowing as the situation is, the crew seems to be taking it not well, but with a grain of salt, they seem to be accepting it. It has happened. The one to fight most is Jado, who's captain I think we should at least take the ship to a port and report this to local authorities that it has happened.
I'm just gonna go to Jado and I'm going, how do you think humans will react to the concept of possession?
Well, I will give you some good news. We are in Centauri space.
Ah, good point. I think Zador Jado does have a point. If we don't report this, and Psychor finds out, they'll assume that you've spaced them. And you've got something to hide from them. And when they assume that you've got something to hide, that means that everyone on this ship has something to hide.
You're right, Landis. I do not know the intricacies of Centauri culture on Psychers. Oh, sorry, not Psychers there. Psycho. Psycho and telepathy. But I will trust you on this. I've asked all of you to trust me on my decision. And what I have to do is take responsibility for my action, which I believe to be the right one, and that will stand up in a court of law.
I think you probably will be maybe if that had been a Centauri telepath suffering from this condition, the authorities would punish you. But the fact that he's a human telepath suffering from a condition there, and if we can point, if anyone can think of any instance that would suggest that Femi was unaware or confused or didn't know what was happening, that would stand you in good stead, that you were put in a condition there where you were not sure in what state he was in. If you were willing to go with, if he was telling the truth, he was a risk to your crew, or if he was seriously mentally ill, he most likely was more a danger to himself, maybe again to the crew. It then becomes the argument for potential either self-defense or you honoring his wishes if he was fully compos mentis. It's that better for the authorities to help, and if we can get it clearly established that he was suffering from some sort of mental image of another person, then it is an established defense in our system. It is something, it's not common nowadays. We know how to treat it. That's the thing. If Femi had just mentioned that, I would have argued getting us to Centauri space, or at least trying to have a Centauri telepath look in and see if they could help him.
I will leave the details of navigating the Centauri judiciary system and customs to yourself and other knowledgeable crew member, but for now I think we should set port to the nearest Centauri station or planet, which is
Yes, Captain. I will get on it immediately. In fact, I have already calculated the route. We should reach Centauri, the nearest Centauri outpost, in in a day and a half.
Okay. Now, I know this will take some time to process, but I think now is the time for commemoration. So if you'll all follow me to the staff lounge in my quarters. I like to remember a good man who did a brave thing, and troop off to drink booze and do speeches.
Right, audience. There's a wee betting pool we've got. How long do you think Sador can make this speech? Put your answer in the chat now.
I'm not doing a speech. I'm metagaming that speech because I should have prepared something earlier, guys. I'm sorry, but if chat really wants it, I can try and do something off the cuff, but you'd already hear enough of me talking as it is normally.
Right. So he holds a good speech. The rest of you do your things. The crew thus eventually notice that indeed Colonel Noah Malone is nowhere to be seen. After a while, Dujar comes to the captain, notices he's drunk, then goes to Landers. Mr. Cortez. Oh.
Yes.
The Mr. Malone. We can't find him.
When you say you can't find him, you have checked his quarters.
Yes, sir. I have. He was not in his quarters.
How thorough a check have you done of the ship?
Well, I looked into every room, but I could not find him. Well, except Miana's room. She does not let me in there, but otherwise, yes. Her personal quarters in general. I only checked the empty ones and his own quarters.
Check every quarter. You have
Um,
my authorization to do so.
It would be better if you led the investigation, sir.
Come with me then. Let's start this. Might as well check on right now.
Yes, sir.
To Fear, come here.
Oh, yes, sir.
Check the camera logs. I want to see if we can get any evidence that if Malone left the ship before we departed.
No, he did not, sir.
Right. Bring up. I want you to search the video logs of all the cameras near his quarters. Try and find out the last image that we have of him on the ship, and then try and track it from there. And we'll try and trace his movements because I can't find him.
Yes, sir. Immediately. And
Thank you.
as he does that, what do you do?
I'm gonna go to Gar with me, and it's like I'm gonna start checking through all the other occupied quarters with my access codes for the ship. Yeah, and because the way I'm looking at it, Tagar said he's checked all the unoccupied places. I'm just wondering if for any reason Malone's got himself into a place that we wouldn't expect him to be in, you know? And just check those all out and then move it. What I would want to do is each time we check a room or a place, I then want to actually lock it under a code that only answers to me, so then he can't come in the room behind me, okay? If he's playing a game of hide and seek or something like that, I want to actually close down the places that he could be and tick off and be confident that when I'm ticking them off, he can't move in behind.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Uh-huh.
So, whose quarters do you want to search first?
I'm gonna actually check Malone's quarters first.
Fair enough.
Start with the most likely place. It's not that I don't trust Degar, but it is his quarters. If there's going to be any potential evidence or suggestions what might be going on, I would expect to find it there. You know.
Do you have investigation as a skill?
I should have there.
Feel free to roll it with intellect.
So when I bring up my character sheet. Yes, there is. Submit. Oop. I have it, but not the best roll in the world.
Yeah, you glance into the room. He's not here.
Just when I'm quickly looking at it, I know there's absence of Malone, but is there anything obvious missing? Like, is his weapon racks empty, or are they still full?
They're full. Not a single gun looks like missing.
Okay. I'm just gonna walk over to his personal the computer terminal that he's got in his room.
Yep.
Here. And I'm just gonna see if there's just quickly see if it switches on, if it's any left messages or anything like that there, or if he was moving in a rush, he might forget to switch off.
As you go to the personal console, you notice that he's still broadcasting to a local wireless receiver some two-dimensional picture. Apparently something called Logan's Heroes.
All right.
But just some humans doing human things.
I go back a wee bit, go a wee bit forward, or go a wee bit back. And I go, okay. I don't think there's anything in there. And it's just turn to Degar. When did you notice that he was missing?
During the meeting, sir. He was not there, so after the meeting, I went looking to ask if he already knew about it. But yeah, that is all I know, sir.
Right. Let's lock this. Let's lock this room up. There.
Yes, sir. He walks out and allows you to lock it behind him. Not behind you.
Yeah. No, where would you be? Degar.
Yes, sir.
If there was any place that you would hide yourself for any reason, or if you were just looking for a place of solitude, without relying on, say, using your own quarters or someone else's quarters, where would you say you go?
The Ferrora, sir.
Right. Let's check the Ferraro. Let's check there first.
Yes, sir. I already did, but if you insist.
I just don't know what to make of it, Degar. Let's just be 100% sure.
Of course.
Right. And it's so I start heading down to the Ferraro there.
Yes, in the 0G docking bay, you float into the magnificent shuttle.
Uh-huh.
And yes, feel free to roll investigation.
Uh-huh. Come on, let's roll better. Yes, I did. Nice.
Yes. As you go through Ferraro, you find the following evidence.
All
Malone
right.
has been here when you arrived. Other than that, there's no sign of anyone. There is signs of somebody having used it for being there, but it is definitely not Malone, as there is leftover scales.
I'm guessing you're not. I'm just going with scales. What color are the scales there?
They would be Freja green, sir.
God, this Fraser's got an infatuation with the shuttle that I think is a wee bit unhealthy sometimes. I'm expecting them to start taking this thing out on dates. There.
Right, sir. Oh, this is where you get a message from Jado. Sir, according to the logs, Mr. Malone entered his quarters about 5 hours ago and has not left.
What? Me and Degara were just in there. It's empty.
Well, that's what the logs say.
Right.
I could try and scan inside the ship, but our sensors are not.
Do you have any personal handheld scanners of yours that you absolutely trust the sensor readings from?
Yes, but they are not designed to scan for organics.
And you jury rig them?
Technically, yes. It will take a while.
Meet me in Degara Noah's quarters there. Maybe if me and Degara have missed something, you might be able to spot something, or even if you're not scanning for organics, you might pick something up on your sensors
Yes, sir.
that we can't pick up with our eyes.
Yes, sir. We do. So you head back to Malone's quarters?
Yeah.
So they are there, exactly as you left them. As you didn't turn it off, the console is still playing the humans being humans thing.
All right, and then I go, whoops, bang, turn it off. And I'm
So you wait for a few minutes in uncomfortable silence. When Jado comes in with a collection of odd-looking gadgets. Right, this is gravity field reader. That one is light analyzer, and this one is a radar. But
right. Okay, the radar's not going to work for organics, but
yeah, as I said, none of these are technically made to detect organic lives.
No, of course, but I'm just turning around and I'm literally presenting the room to him. You know, like, these are his quarters, so if he's in here, there's only that one door. Where else can he be if he's never left?
Right, there seem to be storage spaces in here. Perhaps a toilet?
You think he's been in there for 5 hours and he's had people coming in and out and he's not questioned it?
At this point, Dujar just walks to the toilet door and opens it, and that would be a correct assumption, sir.
Empty, I'm guessing?
No, sir.
What?
And he dives in there and pulls out a Malone, who seems to be limp, and his pants down on his ankles.
Oh, fuck. God. Great
think
man.
we need a
Did
medic.
I just catch that correctly? Is Malone doing it in excess?
What?
I just caught the tail end of that, and
Alright, I'm just gonna re-look over the room. Is there like empty alcohol bottles all over the place?
No. In fact, there are none. There is a box that had some sort of snacks in it, salty snacks, and still has some left over. That was next to his bed. As you evaluate the situation, he probably was laying on the bed watching his console and eating snacks.
Alright. I'm just gonna go, right, check his pulse.
He sets the man down. Do you know how to check pulse on humans?
The neck. Out there. With 2 fingers, you should feel a steady Freddy
Oh,
beat.
well, does it help that he's breathing?
Yeah, that would definitely be work.
Right.
They need to breathe to beat their heart at the same time. Yes, they don't have separate systems like some races.
How many hearts do they have? 3?
1.
Really? Just 1?
Yeah. Seems quite prone to failure, doesn't it?
And Shadow is like, can I take my things out now? I think we need to call in. Oh no. Other medic was the
Yes.
Oh dear.
Thank you, Femi.
Both
Thank
minutes
you.
now.
I'm going to call ahead to the station and ask if they have a human doctor aboard or somebody who can treat humans.
Yeah.
All right. I'll just do that.
Uh-huh.
And the Shadow goes away and just deal with it. And
I'll just go, right. All right, Dugar, what do you want? Do you want shoulders or do you want his feet?
I think I can just pull him under the bed here. It's not like we have a medbay.
Fair enough. All right.
Yeah, he pulls him under the bed and well, it's only a day and a half. Maybe we can observe him or something.
I just like I walk to the door, which is still open. And I just pop my head out, just glance either side, pull my head back, hit the door, and I lock it. And I'll just go to Tagar and I'm going, have you ever done anything where you question the reason why you take certain actions?
Yes.
How's it worked out for you so far?
They were learning experiences, sir.
Anything bite you on the backside?
Many things, including a few reptiles.
Yeah, some of those blighters on Narn have some nasty teeth, from what I recall from the data books.
Yes, only the most vicious types survived at the strip mining.
Yeah. Strip mining. I sometimes wonder if as a species, when we were doing that to your world, if we didn't do more to our own psyche than anything else.
Indeed. Now, so, did you have something you wanted to talk about, considering you locked the door?
Could you ever imagine a situation where you could think that potentially taking actions in the interest of your own home world, would involve you working with Centauri.
Oh dear lord, I am working with the Centauri right now.
Yes, but there's working with and working with.
Oh. Oh, in that sort of way. I suppose it. Well, to betray one's own world, I can't see myself doing that.
And I just turn to him and go, "This doesn't leave the room."
Yes, sir.
Sir Anfarini's head to Narn.
You mean the maniac who shot at us and sent the other nuns to attack us?
Yes.
That won't make sense.
And I tried to deal with it, and certain people on Homeworld decided otherwise.
I'm not one to judge Centauri politics. But
Centauri politics can go down the toilet.
I suppose that's appropriate for the situation.
The man... I decided to do some actions and trying to get information and try to satisfy my sense of honor in regards to what happened on the ship. And that involved working with Jakar. Certain elements of my government don't like that, and they decided that they could dictate to me what I can and can't do, while they ignore other actions that other people have done, just because I don't have an important minister to call on and protect me.
Well, I did not expect that.
And I'm going to, I just look at the guard and say, if Sir Anfarini, if he's that scared, he could provide the Narn weaponry that might advance your people's weapons tech a few decades.
Well, considering you stole... Well, we stole most of your weapon research.
He potentially could give you the rest of it that he didn't steal.
That is a fair point. I should be rooting for my homeworld, but I'm pretty sure some faction will be using it for their own gains.
But here's the thing, Dagar. My people have caused you. We have given you a right to hate us. But where does it end?
Exactly. Hate does not end with hatred.
Because if he gives your people those weapons and they use it, I know who they're going to use it against. My people. And then we'll be incentivized to make even more nastier weaponry and use it on your people, and it goes on and on.
Yes.
The galaxy is...
This does bring me a certain point to consider. We are about to take a murder thing to a Centauri court. And I'm a non in Centauri space.
If you stay on the ship, you should be fine.
Yes, I intend to.
That's what I would suggest. Stay on the ship. Don't them off the ship at all. If you're seen there, while our law at the moment and the way the situation is, no one in theory can do anything to you. Someone will try to antagonize you for you to react, and they can then claim self-defense. There's enough hotheads in our space.
Yes. Well, either way, I intend to stay on the ship and not leave it, unless absolutely demanded. Outside the ship in Centauri space, I like Centauri, but I'm not suicidal. Now, well, it certainly does seem like you have a lot of things on your conscience to work on.
Oh, I'm just looking at the potential. I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. I back my government, and because of their stupidity, they put more of our people at risk. But I try anything to resolve it. I'm a traitor.
Well, I can sort of empathize with you on that. Most of my people do not like what I do. Work with the Centauri as closely as I do. I mean, there are more than a few of us that still do that, but none of us are very well liked.
It's a question of I'm just looking. Can you actually see any future for both our races?
They can be, if people are just willing to look past the past. But that is a big hurdle. Can we forgive the atrocities that have happened on both sides? I mean, who started it all? It doesn't matter. What matters is who ends it. Well,
for just out of curiosity,
yes, sir.
For your people, what would be the symbol to encourage you to think that peace is an option?
I'm a mechanic, not a philosopher, not a politician.
As a Narn citizen,
I don't know.
What would you say?
Well, maybe if the Centauri Emperor said, "And I want to make peace," I mean, not likely to happen, but that would be a good start, I suppose. Who knows? Oh well.
Maybe.
Meanwhile, Zenora.
I would like to do an endurance check as I make a command decision to have another whiskey.
Go for it.
I'm not. Is it endurance or sure? There's if it was D&D, it would be Constitution.
Same set. So yeah, you lose one endurance temporarily to your drunken stupor.
Look, I make the best decisions.
These are the most.
I'm trying to process here, okay?
Yeah. I am intentionally poisoning myself here, people.
So the ship.
This character development.
While this discussion lasts and the ship wanders to the hyperspace, eventually you come to the Centauri space station. Centauri space at the Beta 2. And as you get out of hyperspace, the local station comes into view. It is not as fancy as the one near Centauri Prime, which you have seen before, but it is still quite a sight to behold. Much in the color of copper is on show on the outside. The colors of red and gold in the lining, with little dashes of purple as is appropriate for a Centauri's base. The paint job is immaculate, and there is a busy transfer of goods back and forth from Beta 2 as you approach the station. Soon enough, you are taken into the orbit of the station, and the local authorities request the presence of all the officers of the ship on the station for interviews regarding the incident.
I'm assuming that while this is happening, Malone is still out of it. There.
Well, actually, they are sending someone to your ship, though. Yes, there is an ambulance shuttle heading for your ship to pick up your Mr. Malone or deliver a doctor. One or the other. It was not informed on the message. There was just that the ambulance shuttle has been dispatched and it will meet you halfway.
Okay.
And Fraser is like, Landis, can you handle the controls? I'm gonna go move Firoro out of the way so the ambulance shuttle can get into the bay.
Alright.
Yeet! Fraser jumps all the way out of the bridge and goes to deal with the shuttle with great glee. And yes, the ambulance shuttle eventually arrives. And as the airlock opens, a human doctor enters the picture. It is a dark-colored human man with 2 Centauri nurses following him to the ship. Well, how about you introduce yourself?
Greetings and salutations. I am Dr. Derek. Where's my patient at?
Who's actually greeting him? I wonder.
I'm assuming it is the crew officers.
Yeah, Zadora at this time has kind of sobered up, had a hot shower, had a cold shower, had a shave, and is now dressed in his full captain's regalia. Like he actually ironed it with a bloodshot eyes, and is now sort of looking hollow-faced and splotchy as he, the Centauri and the doctor arrive. If you gentlemen could follow me.
You seem a little pale there. Are you okay?
Self-poisoning.
I will recover. It has been a long journey. Reasons that we made clear.
I'll come and see you after I see the main patient.
Yes.
So I'll just, can I bow and then can I just point my and go this way, doctor?
Yes. Derek is guided through the quite fancy ship, through the guest corridor, all the way to the rotating habitat ring, where the gravity kicks in, the hardwood flooring that has some signs of comfort around you, and to a modest but suitable space accommodation, filled with guns and paraphernalia, and a naked man, half-naked man, wearing his shirt, but apparently his pants are still down by his ankles.
Well, we dragged it. Look, I'm a responsible enough captain that I got someone to drape a towel over it.
Yes.
Why is his pants down?
The crew tell me they found him in this state. So,
do you not have a medical bay on this ship? Do you not have a medical bay on the ship?
No.
And who's your medical officer?
Yeah, he's one of them.
We don't have a medical officer.
And where's the other one?
Indisposed, you could say.
Okay.
It's a bit weird, Doctor. I mean, I know Malone, he doesn't drink, but when we found him, it was like I would have assumed he was drunk.
I'm like gonna go over to him. I'm gonna, unpack my medical kit and get my light out and start, looking in his eyes, checking pupil dilation. It's like, has he exhibited any strange symptoms lately?
What would you? No more stranger than for Malone, I would say. Yeah, he's a bit of a aloof gentleman. There, he sometimes keeps to himself. So if there was anything,
yeah, he can be a little moody. He likes time on his own, but that's perfectly normal in a ship. There's close confines that can sometimes you get sick of everyone, but we certainly didn't notice anything strange recently.
And
He's
generally, Malone, he's ex-military. Yeah, he might like to keep him to himself, but if there was something that was affecting him, he generally would notify the rest of us.
Interesting.
Yes.
I mean, it's ingrained into him there.
So what's
Prognosis?
prognosis role is medic education?
And you're joining the role. Your skill is high enough to get an automatic success on it. So, his body seems all right. There's nothing wrong with his with him physically, as far as you can say. His autonomic responses are there. You press places and things move. Even if you put water in his mouth, he drinks. And all that works. He just doesn't seem to be functioning mentally. Equipment at hand tells that he does have a brainwave, and his mind is very active, but he apparently is in some sort of state of sleep.
Well, physically he is perfectly fine. But apparently your friend's in a coma, and I currently can't tell why.
Will he be all right with modern medical equipment? Do you have the facilities to treat humans on the station? Happy to any cost we can more than cover, Doctor.
Lucky for you, I'm a great doctor, so I'll figure this out one way or the other. Just give me a few moments alone with the patient, and let me run a few more checks. You guys apparently have some conversations to have with some Centauri people out there, so take care of that. I will take care of your compatriot here.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor. Please notify either myself or Landis, or if you can't reach us, a member of the crew, if anything changes in Malone's condition. As acting captain of the ship, my authorization for medical treatment you think might be necessary to his health and recovery.
All right, will do.
Yep.
Fair enough. Do you leave him alone then?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
As soon as they're out the door, I plant a bug in Malone's room.
For fuck's sake.
Yes, definitely. you do that, and yeah. he
No
seems to be
wonder you
sleeping.
two have been grinning like mad.
You don't know what that's for.
It is for surveilling the sick in case he is not in the room at the same time. It's a baby monitor.
And if that was the case, he would have placed it openly.
Look, I trust any character that Femi comes.
Yeah.
Oh, no longer Femi, actually, Dr. Derek.
Dr. Derek Turner.
Comes up with to have the best interests of ourselves and our party at heart.
Now, yes, you get a contact in your phone, Doctor. It is from your mistress,
Mm-hmm.
and it is the arrangements have been made, the money has been transferred.
Okay.
She's all yours.
All right. I say thank you. Well, I say thank you. I will keep you updated, and I type it all in Centauri.
Yep. And
That's rare for a human.
Peculiar.
the return message is, have fun explaining why you have to stay on board. And what's that? Winky face emoticon.
All right.
That's trans-species, the winky face emoticon. Yeah.
Works perfectly between human and Centauri there. The faces are similar enough.
But is there like anything in his room? But like looking at him, looking at his room, looking around, is there anything I could find that could possibly explain what is going on with him, be it mentally, or am I just stumped?
Well, considering how much information they gave you about his situation, not much. It just seems his brains are busy doing something else than being conscious. So, yeah. But you also know that there should be a telepath on board.
Fucking Psychor. I don't like those guys.
You might want to ask one of them what's going on.
Yeah. Well, I pull his pants up and make sure he is comfortable, in the bed, like a proper, medically appropriate, like he should be, before I got there.
Yeah.
And I had to. I head out to look for the two people in charge.
Yeah, they are quite probably at the bar at the lounge section, which is completely visible from the corridor, unless somebody intentionally closes the door to the bar, which happens very rarely for some other reason.
Okay.
Yeah. So you see as Doctor leaves Malone's quarters and appears to be heading towards you two.
I guess we will break off our conversation on quite how we're going to have things past the Centauri Station authorities. So we're busy planning. Does that sound good, Landis?
Not much that we can do. It's better just to try to be honest. If Centauri law, the way we look at it is like, if you're caught in a lie, they're just going to investigate more and more and more. So,
Oh, well, honesty is the best policy then. That's what I've always said.
yeah.
Hello, Doctor.
Hello.
How is Malone?
Still the same, but to be honest with you, I can't make a accurate prognosis if I don't have all the information. I feel like I was told there were more people on board. You seem to be missing somebody.
That is something that we'll be discussing with station authorities. They should be calling in the next 20 minutes or so, Doctor, but we'll keep you updated.
Well, this might be
going
paramount.
Forward as it relates to the patient.
This may be paramount to what's going on with your friend, who's in a coma, but his mind seems to be working perfectly, but it's something in that region. Has this happened before?
To remind you guys, yes, it has.
Yeah. A certain episode 2, Private Malone, yes. I go, there was an incident.
I mean, they were quite close. It might have affected Malone, but he wasn't there for the briefing, so
one of our crew member had an incident where, unfortunately, he's passed away. We noticed we found Mr. Malone in the state he is because Captain Sador here called for a crew meeting and Malone didn't turn up. A few members of our crew were a bit concerned and they tried to do a search. He wasn't responding to comms. We did a search, and when we did a search of his initial quarters, we didn't actually initially find him because we'll be honest with you. We thought if he was in a state where he was conscious, as I said, he doesn't drink, So the idea of him passed out didn't figure into our minds. It was only when I had one of the other crew members double check over the footage, we find that he was in his quarters the entire time. We then rechecked his quarters and found him passed out in the state that he's in his the bathroom of his quarters.
Okay, well, let me put it this way. There is nothing wrong with him physically. His mind shows an abnormal high amount of activity, and for someone in his condition, that shouldn't be happening. So has this happened to him before?
Out of character, has it happened to him before where we have noticed?
Well, I would know about it.
That guy knows.
No, not that.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, no. He's always struck me as a solid and level gentleman. And when I knew him in the military, we're old friends.
Zador, stop talking.
Yeah.
Yes, there has been an incident in the past. But it's confusing because we don't know all the ins and outs of what caused the incident in the first place. And I'm not sure how the incident that has recently occurred, the incidents that have occurred, how anything that has occurred might potentially relate to it.
Did the person who apparently just recently died have anything similar happening to them?
They were telepathic. I came across Noah and Femi doing you humans grossly call it a mind scanner. There.
So you had somebody psychic probably doing something very stupid.
And I bloody told them not that. I told them of the risks. that I know of them under my cultural heritage.
Mm-hmm. I am very aware with Centauri biology, so I understand.
And I'm starting to wonder if, based on what Sador's told me about what happened with Femi, I was, if I had known about what had been said there, I would have been arguing for us to come to Centauri space and seek treatment under telepaths and physicians that have dealt with telepaths for a much longer period of time than a human. Don't get me wrong, you humans, you do have, you know your biology, but you're still trying to figure out how your telepathy interweaves and how that affects your body in different ways.
Look, I would defer to the good doctor on this point. My personal knowledge of telepathy is limited.
So, how did he die? This Femi.
He believed that he was. You ever
possessed.
come across?
Possessed.
It's a crude term, but it does describe the situation.
Multiple personalities.
He believed that there was a other mental presence in there that didn't belong to himself, and that it posed a risk to himself. It got to the point that you could say it drove him mad, where he believed that the only course of action he could take was that he needed to space himself.
You didn't really do that, did you?
You talk to him, and I point to Zadora. As I said, if I had known about it, I would have been dragging them to the near Centauri space station with him in a straitjacket.
Wow. You space a Psychor agent.
Look, Doctor, I appreciate what you have come aboard to do for our compatriot here, but it's not something, unless you're a registered legal authority in Centauri space, it's not something I currently want to discuss with you. I understand your current concerns for your patient, but for us and for our legal position, we'd like to get this resolved before we discuss it further.
In Centauri, I say you'd be surprised with what I know.
I don't speak Centauri, man.
And I just go.
I just look at you blankly.
I actually just turn and look, and I just reply. Yeah, not a lot of your people actually speak our language.
I have a interest in your culture.
Interesting. And then I just go back to English and I go, yeah, I think it would be at least polite for us to speak a language everyone else understands.
Of course. So, out of character. Do I know anything or know anybody who might be helpful for this particular weird issue?
Well, roll me society check.
How scandalous is your Centauri mistress? Is my question.
It is something you will have to find out.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So that's just a straight social roll?
Yep.
Okay. It's not that high. 7.
Someone to help you with telepathy things? No. No one you know directly.
Okay. So
at least not in Centauri space.
So then I'm going to do this from a scientific approach. Because I know this is possible in like our current,
Yep.
technologically advanced society. Is there a way for me to ascertain if I was able to temporarily stop his brain activity and then restart it? What damage that might cause, and if there's a possibility that would help.
You're trying to do a reboot.
Basically, I basically want to get to the point where he's like brain dead and then restart his brain.
Yeah, the risk is definitely brain damage.
Mm-hmm.
It is possible to do, but the manual suggests that you give the man in coma at least one episode to recover from it.
Okay. Got it. I'm not gonna kill you, Carlos. I won't do it. I promise.
That current medical advice. One session downtime.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask a question.
Yes.
Are we like currently in like just a bar, or are we in the Zador's room? lounge?
You are in the public.
I have the bar attached to my room, so it's only a small walk from like back and forth.
But yeah. Also, to those wondering, yes, Spooky cannot make it this time as he is in a CPR training for his company. And as we previously have mentioned, we do not make enough money here to prevent people from actually participating in work things. If we did, then we might as well do 2 episodes a week.
Like, he's the real medical officer in real life. He's doing CPR, so he's upskilling. It's good.
Okay.
Yes,
So
he's getting his medic too.
Yeah.
With that being said, I would say, well, since this is something that happens, I would like to do a preliminary evaluation on you and all of your crew, just to make sure you guys are all healthy. Because I mean, you have no medical bay in here, so who knows when the last time any of you have seen a doctor?
Yes. So it's up to you too.
If you want to expose you and your crew to a medical evaluation.
Of course. I assume that Centauri Space respects doctor-client confidentiality. Outside of threats to station or sapient life. I'm sorry, Doctor, but I've just met you, and now is a very sensitive time for my crew to be.
I just want to make sure everybody's healthy. I mean, you don't have to discuss anything you don't want with me. This is just to make sure you guys are healthy, that you guys aren't going to mysteriously fall into some weird psychic coma.
I look at Landis for sort of prompts on this. I don't spend much time in Centauri space aside from pilfering things from weapon research laboratories. Landis is more the expert. I've only spent 2 or 3 years on sort of Centauri Prime or whatever. It's very metropolitan.
I went to university on Earth, so I am fairly politically oriented.
I turned to Sador. On paper, you can refuse, but if anything does happen, it turns out you've not been doing checks when it's been offered, and that check would have flagged out the condition, you could be held liable.
Due diligence is universal. Very well, Doctor.
It's mainly for stuff like plagues, but it gets used against any sort of condition, so it's actually just better said to be sorry.
As a friendly reminder to everyone, anything that Landis says, you have to remember his education stat is below average.
Okay. I don't know this. I assume that he got it through Neptune and he's remaining an ensign for internal military espionage.
That was
a political animal. That's what he reads into it.
That was pointed towards the audience to let them know of this fact. Remind them of it. But you may carry on.
Yeah, my education's a 5, people.
That sounds perfectly reasonable to me. Of course, Doctor. please go ahead and previously, if there are any issues, I'd appreciate it if you would inform me.
Of course. Well, since you're the captain,
so start with me.
Start with you. Would you want to do it here, or would you like to do this in private?
No. Go on.
In front of
I have nothing to hide from my crew or my colleagues.
All right. I need you to undress.
All right.
So he undresses in front of you. As he said, he has nothing to hide from his colleagues or you. Literally. Then the passing crew member, female Centauri, goes, "Oh my!"
That made it very small.
And then comes a Drazi who goes, "What?" You have to see this.
Don't laugh, guys. We have a compulsory medical checkup for due diligence before docking with the Centauri station.
Well, I suppose
You'll have your turn, but I understand if you want to do it in private.
I mean, yeah, I did offer him privacy. So other than him being probably somewhat still intoxicated, I'm assuming he's healthy.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to suffer from any maladies, and you're all able to make a baseline medical profile of him, and sort of compare it to the profile on record.
Okay.
And he seems to be pretty much the same as after he left the military.
All right. And I was like, have you ever thought about getting an ocular implant?
It creeps me out, just the idea of metal in my flesh. And I know modern medicine is advanced these days, but I've learned to cope.
All right. Well, again, I am pretty proficient at surgery, so if you ever need a helping hand.
Thank you, Doctor.
All right. Mr. Cortez, would you also like to undress in front of everybody?
I just turn to everyone and I go, if you're all wanting to watch, I expect the same. I'm then expecting the same consideration from the rest of you.
Oh no, I couldn't.
Well, in that case, you can decide to watch something else.
Everybody walks away.
No one walks away though.
I walk away. I've already seen those tentacles on the bridge. I still have the occasional nightmare.
Okay.
Go then. And I'm just going, is there anything in particular you're wanting me to do, Doctor? Cough, bend over, or anything like that?
No, just stand there.
I mean, it's not the first time we've seen him without his shirt on.
Yeah. All right. See, okay.
The only one missing from this galore seems to be Noah and Jado.
Okay. So basically, both hearts sound good. All 6 tentacles, I'm assuming, are there.
Yes, all of them are present and accounted for. One of them seems to have light bruising on it.
Okay.
Oh, 2 of them.
I'm just going to go, don't touch them, please.
Okay. I would just recommend a little bit more exercise. Wouldn't want anything to happen to that left heart of yours. That could be dangerous.
Tell me about it.
Yes. Yes. Aside of that slight chubbiness he has gained, he seems to be matching up to your records.
And then, this is going to hand away. We do the rest of the crew. But I do heavily flirt with the Centauri woman. I'm medically
you deviant. Deviant.
She seems to be rather what is it called? Surprised by that. and blushes at the sudden advances.
I pull out like all the things I've learned.
Did you skip the medical ethics course at university, mate? Fucking hell.
Like
This is Centauri space.
Exactly,
I'm glad
we're in
he's
Centauri
not
space.
drunk.
For a watch of this, I'm like, I think this has become more like one of your videos tutorials rather than a medical exam.
I feel
Miana
like
actually-
I'm taking it like
Miana
yeah.
actually does insist on it being done privately.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course.
So also roll me xenobiology once.
with education.
Yes.
Okay.
This is not new information. This is remembering information.
Oh, double ones. How does that happen?
You have an extra liver. We're gonna have to operate.
And so you don't, much to the fans' dismay, you, Freya is a Drazi, for all you know.
I know where those 3 holes in the back are at.
Put your fingers on.
Those 6 holes in the back. Yes. Okay. Well, God damn it. The one roll that fails me. I am super smart.
You're super smart, but yeah.
Double ones will kill me every time.
You skipped the Drazi courses on xenobiology and heavily. I believe you were drinking back then.
Yeah.
With
It is
some Centauri lady, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. You're probably right.
You were more interested in the other species. Well,
I'm like, all right, well, everybody seems healthy. Doesn't seem like anybody's getting mentally attacked. But I will, I'm just going to stick around for a little bit while I, just to make sure everything's okay, at least until my patient awakes.
oh, by the way, I forgot to mention. Did you have what you called equipment to turn? If you can convince these owners to tear down a wall between 2 staterooms, to turn that stateroom into a medical bay.
I mean,
You do have the supplies ready and waiting on the station, as requested. So if these two are into that sort of deal, that might happen.
I guess out of character, how do you justify it to us?
How
justify this, I would like later come. I was like, it's not a mere coincidence that I showed up on your ship.
Oh,
Go on, Doctor.
Apparently, the bank felt like you weren't making payments at a suitable rate, so they sold me some of the ship shares.
If you could have told us this previously,
Well,
I would have been appreciated. But I understand that your patient comes first.
patients come first, and not to mention, I want to make sure you guys aren't crazy. I mean, I'm
Fair
jury's
enough.
out on that.
Well, welcome aboard, Doctor. I'm afraid I didn't catch your first name.
Dr. Derek Turner.
Derek Turner. Let's do this officially. I'll shake your hand, but I think you've shaken most of the parts of all of us. So
Yes.
it may be a tad redundant. A little humor, to live in the serious state that we find ourselves in. As co-owner, my understanding, and I may need an advocate role for this, is that I also need to brief you on any ongoing issues that the ship may be operating under, because you have a vested financial interest, and I have a duty to report. Does that sound like a reasonable thing? I'm pretty sure if you're like a CEO of a corporation or something, you have to like inform your shareholders of stuff that is important.
Yep.
Well, I feel like you telling me you spaced the psycho agent was,
Yes,
top
but
list.
12. Absolutely, it's absolutely a legal requirement. So watch this footage with me.
Okay.
So after harrowing half an hour of footage, you have perfect understanding what happened to the psycho agent.
Well, lucky for you, you do have a pretty good medical physician on board who can, after looking at his footage, I'd be willing to say that your former shipmate was mentally unstable.
That would make things much easier for us, Doctor. Thank you.
And being that I do know, well, we're all aware of what Psycor can do, that you did, work with the means of self-defense, because having somebody take over your mind could have been an issue. What do I have to roll to be able to concoct this nice medical story?
In your case, that would be intellect medicine, as you are concocting something instead of just pulling something out of the text.
So it's okay. As long as I run double ones, I should be fine.
It's okay, because you skipped the medical ethics course, you don't actually understand this as a conflict of interest.
14.
You're like, no, it'll be fine.
Yes, I rolled a 14.
You make a medical report that is perfectly perfect. It's magnificent. In fact, it's so good, the guy rolling advocate with the Centauri officials gets a +6 bonus.
This should help you in whatever Centauri issues you have.
In fact, Psycor is legally liable for damage to our ship and emotional trauma.
That might be a little bit out of my purview, but this will at least keep you all from being arrested. And if we ever have to explain anything when we go back to Earth Alliance space, it might be helpful also.
So, who wants to do the advocation with the Centauri officials, as they call? Will it be Landus, who doesn't get the penalties for doing dealings with Centauri, or will it be Whimsy, who is the captain?
No, as captain, this harrowing event and my inability to function fully in its aftermath has impressed upon me how important it is to delegate, and Landis has proven himself both willing and able to solve issues when I am not necessarily there. So I am confident in his ability to fully and competently represent the ship and ourselves.
So, Landis, this is how we'll do it. You will roll me 2d6, and the difficulty for this check is 8. And you will roll for advocate with a +6 modifier. Difficulty for this is 8. At base, the investigation is going to last with delegation and jury with trials and everything. It should last for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But every point above 8 you reduce that by 1 day.
Right.
I'm just saying, you got a big start.
Yeah. If I don't have advocate, I'm assuming it's just at the intellect roll. Is that correct?
That's an intellectual education roll with a minus of 3.
So I'll be doing with a +3 with...
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
If you roll under 8, you get convicted for something.
Oh, crap.
Oh, man. So technically you get a +3 when all is said and done.
Yeah.
The minuses and whatnot. But hey, I believe in you. How do you double ones? I mean, this is wrong.
Yeah, how is that working out?
It's like 2d6 + 0 + 3. Yeah, that's not right.
No, that's the...
What the hell? You still roll double ones, so let's see. Double ones +3 It's 5. You get convicted.
Damn it.
Just him?
You bloody jinxed it.
Just him?
So you hold the worst possible score imaginable. Fudge, I did not prepare for this occurrence. I should have. Knowing you guys, I should have.
What did I miss?
You got convicted.
We got convicted.
Yes. You got convicted for a manslaughter.
Okay. I
I
start lining up my character witnesses. I get on the intergalactic blower. Hey, Dad. A small diplomatic incident.
sorry, you didn't get convicted. You got.
Oh, we didn't. Oh,
sorry. It goes like this. For the investigation leads you to get charged with a crime instead of that, and in this case, it's charged with manslaughter/murder, and they are calling in a proper trial and holding you back. So that's firstly 2 weeks. That's done. It went by while they were investigating, and then they decided, yep, here's the charges. You're stuck here with us for now. And now it's your time to start pulling in strings and favors and doing what you can to prepare for the trial itself. Because we all know and love the Centauri justice system, and we all know it by heart and remember every legal tidbit, and that will be exciting adventure for us all to go through the Centauri legal system loopholes and all those things. We will handle it so it will be handled with checks and balances.
Okay.
Mainly your die checks and your bank balances.
Exactly. You're running some large checks.
Yes. So, essentially, the idea comes to this. In the Centauri system, you can buy your freedom. Because, come on, Landas is nobility, essentially. You can't just, throw a noble in jail. That's like mean. You can't do that. Secondly, technically, Zadora isn't a Centauri citizen, so he also doesn't have the Centauri protection, so you are lumped in with, to make things easier, you're lumped in with Cortas. So you're all his problem. And he gets into the trial, and you are all getting the same sentence he does, including everybody on board. Except actually for Jado, as Jado is technically a noble as well, so he's like, yeah, I can't be charged with anything. I was there, but he wasn't. He was in charge, so he's scot free.
What about me? I just got there.
You are not. You are a shareholder, but you were. It can be testified that you were on board the Beta 2 station at the time of this happening. So,
hello, people. Welcome to the new outright owner of the Jacaranda, Mr. Dr. Derek Turner.
Well, I will say, while they're going through all that, I put a bug in both their rooms.
Yeah, they are summoned in the station for the hearings.
Yeah. So both the rooms are bugged. All right, I'm done.
For the courtroom. So essentially, what you can do, it all will boil down to a single advocate check. 1, but you can affect that check by introducing modifiers to it that you deem necessary. And the advocate check is basically to see how much you have to pay to get out.
I am, as a Earth Alliance citizen, I'm going to reach out to the diplomatic contacts in the Earth Alliance Embassy in the sector of Centauri space and make it known that if this was to become news, it would create some political difficulties were I to be prosecuted.
So you want to broadcast them that you did space a Psi Court agent. Okay, thank you.
Right, so that's, I assume that's diplomat role?
Yep.
Fair enough. Use the stats you prefer. Intellect.
Actually, Landis has a good point here. Before I click the button, I'm sick of Psycho. Fuck Psycho. I'm gonna move some funds around. Broker.
Broker? Yeah. That would be a suitable skill to check you trade for a lesser conviction. So you attempt to bribe the the judges in charge.
Would that be like social? Or?
That's such a harsh word.
That's social
not bribe.
brokering. Yes, that is social brokering at its finest.
Surely enlighten to the and motivate them to come to the correct conclusion to the trial.
Okay, that definitely gives you a positive modifier of +2 to your advocate check. So let me just write that
down. A misunderstanding, and that I understand that we're foreigners to Centauri space, so I'd like to make some reparations to help defray the costs of this unfortunate misunderstanding.
It's like, yes. Yes, definitely. Yeah. And Landis, do you wish to do something?
I'm gonna actually use my social connections to see if I've got anything on the judges.
Any dirt or any leverage?
Just both. I'm calling in like I'm wanting everything I have on them because.
Right. Either you can call in allies, or you can just do a raw social roll.
I'm gonna do a social. I'm gonna try a social roll.
So no pulling in allies. Alright.
Yeah, I don't want no allies involved at the moment because half the time they're bringing the expectations that's screwing me over. So.
Experience talking loudly.
Yeah. So the social.
Just for social, no penalties on it.
Yeah.
That's a +5 modifier.
Uh-huh.
We had a +6 modifier last time, and look where that got us.
Is Derek going to do anything, or is he just going to watch and laugh and smile?
I call my lady friend and say, "Dear, please tell your husband that these people will be better off far away from Centauri space. The further away, the less they talk."
Okay. Yeah, you're gonna get a static modifier out of that. That's gonna be a secret. I'm not gonna tell you because you guys don't know how much influence that thing has. But it's not going to be free. Derek is going to have to do some nasty things to pay up for that.
Oh crap! Oh crap! Who are you linked to? Oh crap! Not my luck. He's gonna be linked to Lord Reefa and his cell call.
That's not where my mind went.
So, that would be advocate roll with a 2d6 +7.
I don't want to know where your mind went.
Look, I'm not the one involved in sort of aviancy.
Yeah.
I'm just an alcoholic, you know.
So,
Yes.
who
Please.
wants to do the advocation?
Please don't mess this up. Who actually has advocate as a skill?
Me. I went to law school.
Okay, then lawyer, talk. Do it.
I majored in art history, but I went to law school, you know.
I feel like whatever minuses you get is not as hopefully it's no worse than -3 anyway.
Okay. Intellectuation or education?
Education works as people drill you to do the right thing, so it's just a matter of repeating that.
Okay. What modifiers in total?
+7 from the previous rolls.
God.
As this is manslaughter, it's difficulty of 14.
Ooh.
No, we don't get off.
No. Oh, you got double one? No. Wait a minute.
What's that?
You bloody double wonder.
How you get double ones? You still got a 12. That's the funny part. It's like you got a 12. Even
Prison break. Okay, next session, prison break. Malone comes back, he wakes up. Where the fuck am I? Centauri prison, baby.
No. I'm just taking shit to final. You're like, yeah.
No. Malone wakes up and finds he is covered in tattoos and he doesn't know why. Alright, hold on. Let's do this math, right? Let's double check this. How?
I mean, he got double ones, so
Yeah.
That's double ones. That's
that's an automatic fail.
Yeah.
That's literally the only roll. The only roll he did not have to make. If he made anything else but that, fine.
No, if he still made the 3, he would still just fail.
Well, you forget the static modifier that you were getting from me.
Oh,
the
yeah.
secret modifier was not added.
Yeah, so
What?
you would have been good if any other roll but that one.
But how good is this? How good? Previously we were international space captains and shareholders, but now we're all in the dock and then in prison.
The one time you might have been able to use a psychic.
So, in essence, what happens is,
Well, this is they just have to pay a shit ton of money now instead of less money, right?
Should we have a pause while we frantically scramble?
the thing, Roll20 is not broken. You just got fucked with the luck. So, essentially, what happens to you guys is that you have all the facts straight. You have pulled all the things. You made all the bribes. But at the last moment, the very last moment, somebody who hates your guts changes the judge.
I wonder who that might be.
And the judge, he just simply comes in, says, Gilder, and I sentence you all to lose your ship. To the state. As a reparation for the act against the government. However, we shall not be unduly cruel. You will have the grand total of 1 year. We will make Earth years, since you have been advocated by the Earth individual. Ironically, Centauri year would have been longer. To come up with the payment of 10 million ducats to the Centauri Republic to recover your vessel in its entirety. This would be all. Bailiff, escort them out.
So what does that really mean?
What is that? What is that in real money terms?
Yeah.
In real money terms, Centauri ducat goes for 2 credits. So that's 20 million.
Oh, come on, they're a decaying empire who are on their last leg. Surely their currency is depreciating.
Yeah, but the Centauri
Going
ducat
down.
is
it's
printed in
depreciating.
gold.
Yeah, that's what it's about. It's solid gold.
The Centauri ducat is a coin about this size, made of gold.
Fuck.
So they owe 32 million on the ship now, plus another 20 million on top of that.
I said we change the registry and go pirate. Ho ho ho!
I would want to see you trying to explain that one to Daddy.
Yep. So, what do we do now? I mean, you guys are not there yet, so I'm just.
Oh, sick.
Yes. Essentially, Derek being on the ship, taking care of Malone, witnesses the Centauri bailiffs coming in and putting essentially drive locks onto the ship consoles, like wheel locks.
Okay.
Yeah, the ship ain't going anywhere until it's paid for. It will sit here for the next year or until it's paid.
Okay. So basically, I mean, a year or until it's paid for. So basically, what happens after a year?
They
just,
take it.
It will be sold in an auction.
Okay. So.
I need 5 minutes to think. Can we take our break?
I'm
this
assuming
is a good. Actually, I think we're gonna end this session early because I didn't see this eventuality that you would roll double ones and 2 consecutive advocate rolls. So
I mean, that's you guys would have been better. I should have rolled it. I would have been better.
yeah.
Wow.
So so we're gonna end this this session to this image of a corpse floating through space, motionless, a psychic scream echoing in hyperspace. When the ship hits, when it hits a ship, a tractor beam pulls it in. See you next week.